Welcome everyone. Thanks for attending Try This at Work. Today we're going to kind of hone in on all of the great new experiences that are offered through SharePoint Online. Before we get started, just a friendly reminder, if you would, go to your favorite browser and point it to trythisat.work. It's not .com as we always say, it's .work. And that's where you will be able to go in and find all of the recordings that have taken place in the past. Today's recording should be up there either by the end of the day or tomorrow sometime. And so we'd love you to earmark that. You'll also see all the upcoming webcasts that we have scheduled. Now we want to talk about kind of transitioning from last episode. So we've had 2 episodes on covering Microsoft Teams, which is really focused on that inner loop of productivity, a group of people coming together to get something done. And now we want to really focus more on that outer loop experience. So we talked about Yammer a little bit in both of our Microsoft Teams episodes, and we talked about where Yammer fits. What you'll see in this diagram is SharePoint really kind of straddles the fence between the inner loop and the outer loop. And so my good friend and colleague, Chris Lahamadou, is going to walk us through a lot of the capabilities, really focusing on pulling together that outer loop experience and where does SharePoint fit, along with things like Yammer, to really help you connect and communicate with that outer loop. And so, again, I'm Brent Witchell.
And I'm Chris Lahamadou.
And we're going to walk you through, Chris actually is today, a lot of the great experiences with SharePoint Online. So, Chris, I'm going to hand it over to you. Go ahead and start sharing your screen for the audience, and I'll be back at the end to kind of tie us off.
Thank you very much, Brent. Good morning, everyone. This is Chris Lahamadou. I'm a collaboration TSP based out of Atlanta, Georgia. And so this morning, what I want to do is just walk you through some of the latest advances in SharePoint Online and talk to you about how organizations can leverage many of the capabilities in SharePoint, as well as related tools such as Yammer, to really engage that outer loop, that reach broadly across your organization to connect with people. Digital transformation for a lot of customers is the biggest change that any of us have seen in our lifetime, right? Companies are really thinking about how they can invest in technologies to optimize their operations, to figure out how to transform products, to engage their customers, but also, very importantly, to empower their employees, the engine that helps drive that muscle of success for a lot of organizations. And with all this change, right, a key challenge for a lot of organizations is finding new ways to empower all of the people in their organization to be more creative, to collaborate more easily, to be more engaged, to do their best work, right? It's really about fostering a new culture of work that really is looking at a lot of current trends in the workplace and just looks to make work just more inspiring, right, on the whole. And so for a lot of organizations, the intranet is sort of the epicenter of where people will come together to get company news, to get information, to search for people and content. The intranet, it's a publishing center, if you will, of all things happening throughout an organization and helps people connect with information. And SharePoint and Online and Office 365 provides that fabric to allow you to create beautiful, engaging experiences to allow people to come together and connect. The intranet in a lot of organizations can be thought of as an app, but also as a platform, right? It's a series of pages, but it's also those connected experiences that bring together the right sets of information for people to connect and engage with across the organization. And we want to do this in a way that's very self-service. So in terms of empowering employees, allowing them to build the sets of experiences that they need to engage more broadly across their organization. So it needs to be empowered. It needs to be mobile, natively out of the box and engaging. But also we need to have the right sets of controls for IT so that they can govern and manage what do these experiences look like, who can create them, and also, what's the life cycle of this content so that what is out there and available to employees is both, relevant and fresh as they engage with information. So we introduced communication sites a little while ago as a way to build this new, beautiful, engaging portal experience, right? And it's really around that empowered set of creativity. You can, and I'll show you when we pivot to some demonstration, you can create beautiful communication sites in a matter of seconds. They're really great for this cross-company campaign, large monthly or reporting initiatives, product launches, events, a number of different scenarios, depending on the size of your organization and what you're looking to do. And they look great on the web, as you can see from this screenshot, and that's whether you're on a PC or a Mac, but also on a mobile browser, or even in the SharePoint mobile app, which we'll touch on a little bit. And so it was designed so that you can focus on getting your content onto the page, providing a very modern authoring experience that gets some of the minutia of web page building out of the way and lets you just focus on, I have this idea, this information that I want to communicate, and I want to quickly get this out to people within the organization. To do that, we've made it very easy with a number of new web parts that allow you to drop different types of content on the pages, whether it's something as simple as text, or whether you're leveraging the new file viewer web part that shows previews of about 270 different file types. We will show the new mobile-ready Yammer web part, that example of bringing in and connecting that outer loop of conversations that's happening across the organization in Yammer and bringing that into relevant points of your communication sites. Making it very easy for you to customize the look and layout of your site through drag and drop and in a more modern way. And then also, an engine to provision new sites customized to your requirements. So by that, I mean, if we wanted to, say, have a repeatable site, like a project site or a department site or a site for locations, leveraging something called site designs to build that structure out to engage, to build a consistent set of experiences across your portals. Like all of us, we need to stay connected while we're on the go. So the SharePoint mobile application will plug you in with the SharePoint news and the SharePoint sites, but also SharePoint news, that sort of new micro blog, if you will, that exists for your communication sites, for your team sites, and bringing them all together. People can stay up to date with what's happening either through the mobile app itself or through the notification center, where new articles for sites they're following land in the notification center. And then also using the mobile app not only to consume content, but also to generate and create, right? We want those tools to be able to reach out across the organization, to be available with us everywhere we are. And so having that capability in your pocket, in your mobile device, is really key. So we had team sites, we've had communication sites, and they leverage this beautiful infrastructure, if you will, to create content. What is now out in targeted release, so an advanced release, and will go general availability somewhat soon, is this concept of a SharePoint Hub Site. Right, so hub sites are a way to bring together related sites and to have them automatically bring together that content to share certain elements like a navigation and look and feel and branding, but also to roll up and aggregate things such as news and site activity, and to automatically show you how you can search across all of the sites that are part of a hub. And again, getting back to that governance model, right? We want to allow administrators to be able to designate sites as hubs, and then allow the owners of those hubs to be able to bring in the appropriate either team or communication sites into this mix. So it's a great way for you to bring together and aggregate all of these sets of experiences, and we'll show an example of what that looks like. And it's, again, meant to be very simple and easy to do, to build out a new experience and then bring that into the hub and have it automatically inherit some of those capabilities along the way. As Brent mentioned earlier, engaging the outer loop is really key, right? Yammer, our enterprise social product, to be able to allow organizations to connect together, employees across the org chart, across departments, or even across geographies, allow people to come together in a number of different experiences, mobile or tablet or web or desktop, and stay engaged with the rest of the organization, to find information, to find experts, to have people sort of self-organize or come together in groups or communities that make sense within the organization, or potentially even to securely collaborate with outside parties, right? So bring them into the fold, if you will, and leveraging social gestures like @mentioning and topicing to help engage the right people or to describe your content in a meaningful way. So really key to leverage the portals experiences in SharePoint Online through team sites, communication sites, and aggregate those via hub sites. But then also to leverage and bring in Yammer for those social communication experiences and to tie that all together. So let's take a look at what this will look like in practice. We'll do a little bit of a demo as we go here. And to sort of set the stage for this, what we want to do is a group within the organization wants to build out a new portal experience about a corporate giving campaign. We want to sort of more formalize, Contoso wants to more formalize the giving plans that they have so that people can have a place to come together and see about the company's initiatives to help support giving and volunteer work, et cetera. And so we want to build out a portal with that and then ultimately integrate that into a hub experience that Contoso has created in the platform. So let me drop out of the PowerPoint presentation here, and I'm going to go ahead and pivot into my browser session here. I'm going to start on the main SharePoint landing page here. And just to talk about it briefly, these pages themselves are personalized automatically for you out of the box. As signed in here as Megan, I see the things that are meaningful and important to Megan individually. Whereas my other colleagues like Nestor or Adele or Alan, they're going to see pages that resonate with them. Through Microsoft Teams sites and communication sites, we have this concept of a news element that allows people to build beautiful news articles that can then be shared broadly across the organization. And for the sites that I'm following or the sites that I'm active in, I see all of that news landing right here at the top of my SharePoint homepage. I don't have to go anywhere. It's right here, very easy for me to discover news and information that's interesting or relevant to me. I also see some frequent sites. Some links in these cards here that allow me to jump or see the activity as well as link to those specific sites. So in this case, I can see across this environment, what content might be popular, what activity is happening across these particular sites. So at a glance, I know I can jump into either a team site experience or maybe a communication site experience and drill into that. And I could also, as you would expect, be able to search broadly across all of SharePoint here. So if I wanted to click into this box, you'll see we're making some suggestions for you right away just to help you get started with a search. But I could continue to, search for a particular element here, and you can see I can jump in and find a type ahead or drill in more broadly for survey results here. What I wanted to do was to create that site that we want to use for our corporate giving campaign. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Create Site up here, and you'll see I'll have a number of choices made available to me in my environment for the kinds of sites that I can create. So I could create a team site where it's just, that's that kind of inner loop, if you will, that collaborative experience, that productivity-based experience for that known group of people that's in my working unit, that's in my project team, etc. But I have an idea that I want to share more broadly across the organization. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and say I want to pick a communication site. I mentioned that I wanted to say that I wanted to be wanted this site to be around our corporate giving campaign, so I can give this a description, giving site. You can see I have a number of different themes to pick from. So here for communication sites, we have a couple that are available out of the box. We have one that's sort of a topic-based theme. We also have one that's more of a showcase, right? So which is designed around showcasing a particular product or team or event using photos and images. Or I could choose to start with a blank canvas, right? Kind of build my own. I like to start from a jumping off point here, and I think this particular site will lend itself to us. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this one that's based off of a topic. So when I go ahead and click Finish here, you'll see that the SharePoint Online Service is going to go ahead and create my site in the background, right? And so as I said, right, a beautiful and engaging SharePoint site was created in mere seconds. And for many customers, they're shocked. They say, this doesn't look like SharePoint. This isn't the SharePoint that I'm accustomed to seeing in my on-premises environment. And this is a testament to the advances that we've made in the SharePoint Online Service, building these beautiful modern sites that allow you to engage and build out content. So we have the default template here has a number of web parts that are on the page, and we'll leverage some of these and to kind of build out some content here. Maybe the first thing that I would like to do would be to give this site a little bit of a logo. I can come to the settings gear and I can click on site information, and maybe I want to change the logo here for the site. I want to give it this nice little giving logo here. And I can go ahead and save this out. And now when people come to the site, or when people see the site, the card, or when they see the site on their mobile device, they'll know based on the logo here that, hey, that's that giving campaign site that Contoso has built up. If we go ahead and pivot into the page here, you'll see at the top we have this hero image web part. And the hero image web part is designed really for static or manually curated content that you want to highlight for users that are coming to view the site, right? So right here, if I wanted to make changes to this, let's say, I can click on edit, and now I'm putting the page into edit mode. And so for the authoring experience in SharePoint Online sites and pages, there's a number of things that you'll see that become just familiar in terms of how you work with the content or how you work with navigation, that sort of a thing. If I hover over a part, you'll see that there's this little menu that shows up here that gives me a couple of common things, right? If I wanted to edit this part, let's say, or bring up any properties that allow me to manage this part more specifically, I can click on the edit part, and now I can change a number of things about this part with this menu that comes out on the side. Here, the default is to provide, again, a jumping off point for this template that explains what you might do for the site, how you, the kinds of things you might do, the kinds of changes that you might make, etc. But maybe I don't want to have all of these tiles. Maybe a 3-tile layout makes more sense. You can see as I make changes here, this is all happening in real time. I'm not having to reload the page. It's all happening as I'm working with the content. So really great in terms of engaging with content. If I scroll down a little bit more, you'll see there's some other elements that we can add on the page here. I just wanted to go ahead and make that quick change. A couple of things you'll notice here, I have the ability to save and close my page. And here what I've done is I've created a draft. So within the authoring canvas or SharePoint Online pages, there's lightweight publishing available here. For me as the owner of the site or other people that I would designate as owners, then they would be able to see this page in the draft state, while others that are maybe just viewing or consuming this portal experience would see the prior version of the page, right? And I can see when the draft was last saved. I can continue to go ahead and iterate on this. And when I'm ready, when I think that the information is good to go here, I can go ahead and simply click on publish and make the page available to everybody in the organization right now. Very simple, very easy to do, right? If I scroll down a little bit more, you can see we have the, this shell for the news carousel, right? So as I'm authoring this and I'm getting this page out, what I'd like to do is to showcase what's happening across Contoso with our giving campaign. And the news carousel or the news element here is a great way to do that. It allows me to build very beautiful, engaging pages and share what's happening for this particular campaign right here within the page. So let's go ahead and build out a news article. If I click on Add News, you can see, again, I'm taken to the page authoring experience. And maybe what I want to do is go ahead and give this a name, right? Contoso in the community. And maybe what I'd like to do is just to give this page a little bit of a header, right? So I can come in here and I can say that I want to add an image. And you can see I don't have any recent files here that I've worked with on this site because the site is brand new. And I could choose to upload content or I could go ahead and do a search for a link. In this case, what I want to do is I want to use a web search, right, powered by Bing. So we provide some options, sort of defaults, to give you some ideas for what might make sense for a header image, right? Like just a background or some images on teamwork, let's say, or meetings, kind of common things that you would see from an authoring space. But I could also do a search here for a term like volunteering. And when I do this, what's really great is now I'm getting image results right back from the Bing service. And you can see a couple of really important things. First of all, because this is a header, we're defaulting this as a wide image, right? Because that's what we want, a wide image for the header of our page. We're also defaulting to images that are tagged with Creative Commons. So I know that if I'm going to go through and pick an image through here, that I'm going to get something that is okay for me to use, right? Although if I know there's other content that I can use, then I can go through and pivot to all. In this case, I think this image is pretty cool. We'll go ahead and bring this in. And then you'll see I'm actually opted to now drag and set a focal point. Right, so this allows me to pick where I have my image focus. And that's important for a couple of things. Number one, I can choose where I want this how much of this and where in this image I want to view. The other thing is that when this image is resized, because it's responsive out of the box, I can choose which part of the image I want to make sure stays in focus, right? Which is really important. Like maybe it's a logo or a face of someone that's in the post, right? A particular volunteer, etc. So it's really good and very easy for me to manage that experience right here. So now let's say I want to go through and I want to add in some content. I've got my page infrastructure here. Maybe what I want to do now is I want to add in some text. We had an event recently, and I want to tell people about this particular event. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to click on this plus here. The plus, when I hover, shows me that I can add something new. In this case, I'm choosing to add parts, and when I clicked on the plus, I had this little carousel of available options. You can see some of which I could scroll through and pick some, and I can just pick text. And I could go ahead and I could start typing in here some text, right, real time. You know, this is some text. But what I've actually done is I've already started authoring the article already in Microsoft Word, where I've done some things like do some formatting, etc. So I can come through here and I can click on copy, and now I can come in and paste. And when I paste that text in, you'll see very simple and easy. The formatting all comes in. It's very beautiful and easy to work with. Maybe what I also want to do is I want to add in an image, let's say. So I can come in here and I can go and say I want to add an image. In this case, I am going to choose to upload an image. And I'm going to pick this one. I'm going to highlight here. Here we have one of our employees that's doing some working here, some landscaping. And I'm going to go ahead and add this image right here on the page. Okay. So when I bring this image in here, one of the things that's really great about this image part is one of the things that you'll commonly want to do is you want to bring an image in, and you might want to crop this image, right? Like maybe I don't want so much of the sky. You can actually do all of that. Maybe I want to focus on this image, make it a little bit more landscape oriented than portrait. So I actually can do that very, very easily right in the image, right? I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to use an editing tool. So if I just want to quickly crop this image, I can do so right here in the part itself, right? And I can come away and now rescale this image in a way that makes sense. Maybe, for example, for this static image that I brought in, what I'd really like to do is to show this side by side with this text. Well, one of the things that you can do with this hover on the plus here is you can add new sections. And maybe I want to add in some columns, right? I want to add in some text that's a 1/3 left, 1/3 right, or I can convert an existing section here like I've done. So now I can take this static image that I've dropped in here, and I can drag and drop those images real time right here on the page, right? Very simple and easy to do. Maybe I want to, again, like I said, add that gallery of images here. I can come in here to image gallery. I can say, hey, I want to add some images. Again, we're going to upload some. I can go out and grab some shots that we've taken from the particular site, and I can say, yes, I want to add these. And what's fantastic, again, you can see this is all happening real time as I'm working, right? I can specify the aspect ratio of the images. Maybe what I want to do is to keep them nice. I want a carousel. Maybe I want to automatically cycle through those when somebody lands the page. So here I am, our employees giving in their community, right? I can quickly give this a tag here to let people know what it is. For this particular case, I can give this a tag, and I can say that this is Alan hard at work in Atlanta, right? Whatever it is. Very simple and easy to do. So I have my news article here. You can see there's lots of other parts that I could choose to add in here, right? So maybe if I can actually expand this box out as well too. So if I wanted to add in things such as some additional boxes of text, or I wanted to link to some content, or maybe I had something outside of the environment that I wanted to embed, or I wanted to provide a link to something, or maybe what I wanted to do was to highlight some individuals. I can use the people part. So a lot of different parts to build these pages, right? So I have this set of images here, and I have this carousel, and in fact, I'm going to bring this, again, drag and drop. I can bring this carousel right in here so I can see some images together. And when I'm done, I can now publish this page and now make this news article available right on the home page of our site, right? And as I build new news articles, that news carousel will continue to flow and build that out in a way that people can stay on track with the latest news. Maybe we also want to tell people about our newest event that's coming up, right? So I want to come in here and I want to add an event. Maybe we have an event coming up, at the end of next week, let's say on the 11th. And what we're going to do is we're going to name this event. It's in-house or in-office, rather, volunteering. And I can specify date and time information for this. So maybe we're going to do this, say 11 to 2. And I can go through and I can specify, maybe I want an office location, so I can specify my local office here in Alpharetta. And it brings in a nice little map for me. I can key in some additional information. I can also key in some context here, say, come in to the office and help build some bicycles for charity, right? And I can even put in a contact name, right? I can even say that, hey, maybe we want to have the contact person for the event available, and so Adele has volunteered to sort of be the contact person for any of the details. I could also choose to give this an image as well too, right? So maybe what I want to do is to give this a nice little header so that when people come in and they look at the invite, they can see, and again, it's that same familiar experience, right, of being able to author in a way that makes sense. I can go ahead and now create this event. So now when I go back to the home page here, now I will see my news article, and I'll also see the events calendar building out. And what's great is you can see these events, they'll automatically roll off as the time elapses. So come Saturday the 12th, this one will no longer show, and the next series of calendar events will make themselves available. And then I can also, we automatically generate that ICS file. So if your employees click on this add to my calendar link, it will open it up and so that they can save that appointment in their Outlook calendar and then have that available to them. So really simple and easy to do without a lot of work. And you can see there's a number of different other things that we can do to add the page. If I go back into edit mode here, let's say, maybe, for example, this document carousel, I don't necessarily want this. If I want to get rid of a part, very simple and easy to do. I can simply just get rid of that part. Maybe if I also wanted to come in and add a link to something on the page, I could do that very easily. I can simply click on add a link, and I can say that I wanted to add information from a link. And in this particular case, I'm going to say provide a link out to an external website, let's say something like the Red Cross, right? So that people can have a reference to this. If I wanted to, I could change the image or all that kind of thing. And maybe I also want to put in who the volunteering champions are, right? And I could key in some people like my good friend Nestor, or maybe I want to include in my friend Alan, right? Who was featured in that article before. And again, I have the ability to move this content around, to drag and drop into different parts and sections, again, in a very familiar and easy way to do. And when I'm done, I can go ahead and publish this page. The question came up of modifying the top navigation, right? So we provide some things out of the box. For a portal like this, I might not necessarily want to have some of these elements, so I can simply click on Edit. Now, when I do so, what's great is, again, you see that familiar plus, right? Plus means I want to add something new. So if I wanted to add in a link, say, to a site where you could go ahead and record your volunteer matching time, I could go through and say, key in the link to this particular address, and I could say, match your volunteering. I can go ahead and add this in. And then maybe I don't really care. People that come here that aren't, authors of the site, will go ahead and remove all these other elements, right? So very simple and easy to do, right? I've got a top nav that I've curated real quickly here. You'll see as I go to these news articles or the sites, if I drill into an article, one of the things that you'll see is we have commenting built in right to the page, as well as other social gestures such as likes. So as people come here, they can like the article, they can comment on the article, they can choose to engage with this content right here on the page. They don't have to go anywhere. So you see, I built this very beautiful article, and in fact, just to prove this out, if I take this page here and I take it and I condense it down to maybe something that you would see on a browser on a mobile phone, let's say, the site's natively responsive. It's beautiful and engaging and automatically mobile out of the box. You'll see I did nothing to make this page mobile. It's mobile already. Here's the news carousel, here's the events, the links I built, the commenting on page, the volunteering, and I can go ahead and drill into this news article. And again, this news article reflows, right, including the image that we curated down, the carousel, etc. So a really beautiful experience. So this is a communication site. Oh, I almost forgot. What I wanted to mention is we also understand that people might want to showcase their news articles. So we've made an ability for you to go ahead and promote your news article. So maybe for this particular article, for some period of time or for all of the time, I want to go ahead and add this page as a as a navigation element. So I can quickly just add this in. You can see it adds it in right here. Or maybe I want to sort of send a more formal communication, that what you might do in email. I can simply click on email here and it would invoke my email client, and we could then compose a link out to this site right here from right to the news article right here from within the Authoring Your Canvas.
Hey, Chris.
Yes, sir.
We have a couple of questions. I thought maybe we'd try and hit on those before you leave this topic. So how and where may I maintain the news carousel content? In other words, the question is, what if I need to delete an old news or they introduced a new news posting by mistake?
Gotcha. So you can drill into news and see all of the corporate news within the site. And in fact, let me go into, oops, it's actually way over here. If I go through, I can see, actually this is events, excuse me. I can go through and see all of the news articles for the site itself, and then I could choose to delete an article if I wanted to. So if I'm within here and I'm within the particular news article, I can go through and delete this article. I can do that by going in also into site contents, and I could see all of the site pages that are news articles, and I could choose to delete one. The other thing that I'm able to do is I can manage what this news carousel looks like, and that's a good call out. So if I come here and I put the page into edit mode, and again, that familiar experience of hovering over something and clicking on edit web part, just like the hero image, I have a number of different layout options. So here's one where, I have a top story, or if I want to show a list of articles, or I want to show just the top story as the main one, and then have additional images show up. And I'll show an example of that before. We can give this a title. We can say giving news. And so now when this is published, people, as they choose to add content or they choose to get rid of content, then it can do that. If I publish another article, there'll be one that says see all. What else?
So the next one is there a way to have custom fonts? So I know you can go into site settings and change the look, and you have some of the built-in fonts that you can select from. What about custom fonts?
Yep. So something where we're going, if you're in the text authoring area, and again, the intent here is just to make this sort of very simple and easy to do, right? So if I go ahead and put my page back in edit mode, if I select some of the text here, you'll see that there'll be a little highlight here that allows me to pick different text types. But I can also click on this ellipsis and it brings out a menu here. So now I can bring in, here's some standard font styles, but if I want to be very prescriptive about the font size or the font color or highlighting or alignment or even tables, I can do all that right from within here. What we're thinking about, what it would look like to continue to add additional, capabilities to bring in, wingdings or whatever it is, and we're looking to do that sort of in a thoughtful manner going forward.
Great. Very similar question. What about custom CSS and HTML?
So you can extend some of this through the Sharepoint framework. Probably a good one to consider having a deeper dive session on later. Or maybe to post a link to in the Q&A window after this session.
I love it. And then someone asked questions about tagging, different items in a page for searching.
Yep. So, I mean, automatically, all of this context is indexed and searchable, right? So I'll see all of this content natively, but we are thinking about, again, ways that we can help people describe content, within the platform. Nothing to share right now, or even anything committed, but we are thinking about ways that you might say, hey, this article was related to blah, right? And you'll get all of that because you're going to get it from the title and the text and all of that, but from a taxonomy perspective, you might want to do that a little bit more prescriptively, and we're thinking about ways that we would do that. In the interest of time, I do need to move forward here. So one of the things that I've done already in my environment, just because it takes a while to set up, is I've gone ahead and created a hub site already. So this is a communication site that's kind of net new, but I have an existing hub, and as it so happens, I have linked to the hub site right off of our image here in the top nav. So one of the things you can do, an administrator can do, is to have your hub site or this image linked to some resource, web resource. In this case, I've linked it to a hub site. Now you'll see this will look very similar to the communication site that I created, except for the fact that you see this top navigation element. So in this case, all of the sites that are a member of, that are a member of this hub site will inherit this top navigation. So you can see I have a main page here where we've got some news articles, but I also have links out to maybe some other departments. So if I go ahead here to say electronic events, and I go to this site, you'll see because this site has been designated as a child, even though it's a team site, I have the ability to then have access to that same top navigation element. So I have this consistent way to get back to my main hub site or my main hub, right? So very quick and easy to do. Let me show you what it's like to add in a site to the hub. So if I come back here into the giving campaign as an admin, a couple of things that I'm going to want to do. First, I'm going to want to make it so that anybody in the company can get access to this site, right? We want to publish this out on the hub. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this site out with everyone in the company, right? And we'll say everyone, external users. And we're going to go ahead and give everybody read access to this site. So very simple and easy to do. I can do it right from within here. The second thing I want to do is I want to attach this site to the hub. So as an admin of the site, and I have the right set of permissions, I can now associate my new portal site to the hub site. And when I do this, what it will do is a couple of things. It will, first of all, bring in that top navigation, right, to my hub site. See, I don't have to do anything, right? So simple and easy to do. I have this now available to me. I also maybe want to add this available in as a top navigation element. And in doing so, maybe what I want to do is link off to this. I could choose to add this to the global navigation. And right now you want to manage this top navigation very specifically. So maybe what I want to do is just to come in here and create a link to that giving site right from within here. Right? So I can go ahead and post in the URL to that new site that I created and say that I want to add this in as the give site. And so now every child site in this hub, as well as the main hub site, now sees this link to the giving site right from within here. So it's a fantastic way to show the power of hub sites. You can bring together, different sites, whether they're team sites or communication sites like the giving campaign that I created, and it allows you to quickly and easily build that connected communication experience across your organization through a hub site. And so some other very interesting things happen here. You'll notice as I refresh the page here, one of the things that you can do that we've done is I have this news article at the top here where we're bringing in information across different sites, but we're also have this news carousel that is aggregating news across these different sites. So from corporate communications, from IT, from other sites across the hub, you can choose to roll up news from different locations. And in fact, I can be prescriptive about where I want that news elements to come from. So I can come in here and I can modify this news carousel, and I can choose to say I want to show all sites in the hub, or I want to show just select sites. So in this particular case, I can pick and choose the sites that I want to have show up in the hub. In this particular case, I'm going to choose all of them. So it's a great way to allow your employees to be empowered. Again, that key word from the beginning. Have people be empowered to publish their content where they are in place, to give them permissions and rights in the areas that make sense. But by building this connected hub experience, we now allow them to, or can have them surface their content here on the main hub page. So think, large departments or, regional portals, or depending on the size of organizations, it could, feel like an intranet experience or what have you. Or so a lot of different ways that you could bring these sets of experiences in. And this is one of them. You'll see also I have an events calendar in a similar way. We also have at a hub this special part called a sites part. So this looks very similar to that SharePoint homepage where people can get an at-a-glance view of what's happening across all of the sites connected to the hub. So it's, again, a great way to bring in that set of experiences here and make them available natively. You could say here I've got a list of links. Let me show you some of the other ways that we're bringing in other experiences. If you were looking, you'll notice at the right-hand side here I've brought in a group in Yammer. So here's that new modern Yammer web part that allows you to see conversations that are happening in the leadership connection group, right? So we want to leverage that outer loop connectivity where Contoso is coming together, engaging with senior leaders, and we want that experience to be right at the ready for people that are working off of our hub here in the intranet on our hub site. And so bringing in that experience, I can come in and see a post here. I can see that Nestor wants us to take a look at the company message. I can come in and engage with this part right here from within the page, go out to the connection and engage in the Yammer experience right from within the part itself. So I can go out and engage with that. There are other experiences as well, too, from a portal perspective that you'd want to bring in that are very rich and engaging. So, for example, things like bringing in Microsoft Stream, right? So here I've embedded an entire channel of videos that are hosted in your Stream video portal, and I've landed it right here on the page. So as the channel owners author and edit video content that they want to make available broadly to the organization, it will natively show up here, right here in this part on the hub, and people could click on a particular video. They can jump in and see that video played right here on the page, or they could jump into Stream itself and see the video, and including the other parts of the video, such as automatic transcription of the video language or spoken content, or facial recognition, those sorts of things. Here you can see I've embedded a document part, I've leveraged a divider part, and here I have these people cards for you to engage. One other way that we're bringing in Office 365 connected services is through the use of bringing in Microsoft Forms. So Forms is a way to build surveys and quizzes for your organization. Here I've got a link to the Contoso annual survey that we've built out as a Microsoft form, and I've embedded a link to it right from here, so people can come in, they can pick their department, they could key in some information about what they think or what there's top of mind for them for the company right now, and then they could submit that, and then the owners of this survey can go ahead and see what the responses look like, and then can therefore do some analysis on the responses, and that's all integrated natively right here within the portal, right? So a very beautiful experience in that way. I've talked about the mobile experience here, and I want to make sure I show that off as well too. So if I go ahead and sign in on my my demo phone here and bring
Hey Chris,
up,
while you're doing that, just answer yes or no here. Can I have one hub site referencing another hub site?
No. So right now, hub sites, we don't want to have an inception moment happening like that, right? So right now, hub sites and child sites are a one-to-one, right? A hub can only have children, and a child can only be related to one hub. Okay, so it's a way of like taking these sort of disconnected site collections, if you will, in SharePoint Online and bridging them together. So good question, though. You can see here I brought up my mobile device that's right next to me here. If I go ahead and open up the SharePoint app, and you can see I go ahead and do a quick little refresh, you'll see I default to the SharePoint sites that are, are ones that are interesting and useful to me. And you can see here's that Give site that just showed up right here at the top. And you go, see if I click into this, and I drill into the Give site, you can see, as I said, here I have this native response here for me to go through and see this website that I created. Again, I'm not having to do anything. It's all right here. I can also go back to the Hub site. So here I drill into the Hub site that we created, and again, I can see that carousel that exists. I can see the news articles. I also can drill in and see the navigation. So I can see local navigation for the sites that I created. I can also drill into the Hub navigation. So I can see all of the resources that are available to me across the Hub within the platform. The other thing that we're surfacing right through here is the ability for you to see news and news content. So I have news as a separate feed here, and I can see all of the news that's new in the environment, including a suggested article, right, that I might want to go read. So this is that power of the cloud, the power of understanding where I might want to see content based on what I'm doing, the system surfacing information for me to see. So if I click on this Contoso in the community article, again, you can see, I have this article here, but maybe I'm on the go and I want to get back to this, but I don't necessarily want to forget about it. I can actually go ahead and save this for later by clicking on that little bookmarklet icon. So when I go back to the home screen here and I click on the Me tab, now I can see all of the information or content or pages that I've been to recently, but I can also get back to this personal bookmark of content, right? So I can come back to this article when I want to and see that, hey, there's a couple of others here, including an article about the annual poll. I can come in and see that we have this article available right here. And in fact, this one is particularly interesting because I've chosen to, I've got this Microsoft form that I showed you surfaced right on a web page. So you can actually embed those right into news articles as opposed to linking off to them discreetly. So the mobile app, really powerful. If I'm on a site, for example, such as the Giving site, from within here as an author in the environment, if I wanted to, I can go in and drill in and look at the news for the environment. And if I wanted to author some news on the go, I could simply click on Add here and start building out an article. I can start keying in some copy, maybe even using modern technology like dictating to the phone, voice to text, and authoring an article kind of while I'm on the go, or maybe even capturing some images or video on my device and uploading that content and attaching it into the article. And then I could choose to publish from here or go back to my desk when I'm ready to go to do some sort of more heavy-duty things and publish when I'm kind of back at my desk. So that's kind of a quick tour. You can see very empowering, very engaging way to build out content from within communication sites, within hub sites as well too, to sort of bring all of those together across the organization. A couple of quick things just in terms of next steps in the environment or within SharePoint Online. Definitely join in the conversation with with your community fellow community as well as their product groups, and also read the SharePoint blog at techcommunity.microsoft.com. It's a great place to, like I said, engage with others and also provide some feedback to the product group and see what's coming as it relates to features. We publish a roadmap at roadmap.office.com where you can do a filter and see all the things that are specific to SharePoint. And then lastly, if you've got feedback, we take that very seriously. We want to make sure we're building products and services that our customers want to use, that love, that brag about because they're so fantastic. And to do that, leverage your voice to tell us what is working well or what you'd like to see differently or net new at sharepoint.uservoice.com. See if someone else has made the suggestion. If they have, excuse me, vote it up. If not, go ahead and make a suggestion and allow others to weigh in on it and help us find the right sets of experiences to help build. Lastly, and maybe most importantly, towards the end of this month, there's still some room. We're having a SharePoint Conference North America hosted by Microsoft and SharePoint Conference North America. That's out in Las Vegas, May 21st to the 23rd. And so we would love to see you out there and hear the latest and greatest that's going to be coming in the world of SharePoint across all of the different experiences, whether we're talking about portal experiences, collaboration experiences, experiences to augment and extend the platform through things like the SharePoint framework or other connected parts of the platform, and where SharePoint plays a key role across other parts of Office 365 services. So with that, thank you for my part of this, and Brent, I'm going to return it back over to you.
Great, thanks, Chris, and what a great session. Thanks for walking us through all of the communication sites and hub sites and answering a lot of the questions. I will tell you, we had a ton of questions. Looks like people are really excited about this particular episode. So we'll make sure we get those out maybe on the Trythisat.work website so you can see what everybody was asking and all of the different answers. And make sure you earmark Trythisat.work. That's where you'll see this recording along with all of the other previous recordings from Try This at Work. You'll be able to go and fill out a survey to help us with different topics down the road. And then also you can sign up just to stay informed. We'll just use that sign up list to say, hey, here's the next episodes that are coming up next week. So thanks again for joining us. Chris and I love getting in front of all of our customers from a Microsoft perspective. And we hope this was valuable. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.